I'm currently being joined by Menka Gandhi, former Union Minister, on the stray dogs verdict by the Supreme Court. Ma'am, how do you see this verdict?
It's a step in the right direction, and I'm really grateful to the Supreme Court for basing it on science and on compassion.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, they also mentioned the rabies and the sterilization of the aggressive dog. How do you see that? Will the authorities will be able to push forward to this?
Beta, rabies, so there is no question of it. A rabid dog has to be picked up and it cannot be released. In any case, rabies is a time-bound disease that kills the dog. So the dog will die. And regarding aggressive dogs, of course they have to be sterilized. But we have to now ask the Supreme Court to make a definition of what is aggressive. Because it becomes, most RWAs and municipalities are very self-serving. A politician will interfere in order to get votes, and he will say, oh, all the dogs should be removed because they're aggressive. Some people say dogs that sit on scooters are aggressive. Some people say that dogs that chase cars are aggressive. There doesn't seem to be one definition. So the word definition will have to be clarified. Does it happen with one bite? Does it happen with many bites? Does it happen with no bites at all? You know, for instance, a dog that gives birth. Hopefully there will be less and less, but a dog that gives birth. When she's sitting with her puppies, if you come and throw water at her or hit her with stones, would you blame her for being aggressive? So we have to decide what is aggression.
Ma'am, also now the dog lovers are saying that the public safety is being compromised after this verdict. What's your take on it?
No, what public safety is being compromised? It's a very good order. In fact, it's a niyamit order. It's a disciplined order. One second, Betty.
Yeah, sure.
It's a disciplined order that makes feeding in specific places, and that is a good order.
You just mentioned the specific feeding spaces. Do you think this will be possible by the authorities because we have more than 15 million dogs in India?
You have exactly 1.2 crore dogs, right? So, and they're getting less every year, but that's not the point. Of course, feeding spots are possible, and they have been made wherever they have been made. There has been no complaint. It's when they're not made by RWAs, by the colony head, by the police or the municipality, that is where we have the problem, because feeders then have no option but to go to the dogs rather than letting the dogs come to them.
What else could be done? What else model could be introduced to have a space between the animals and coexistence between animals and humans? What do you see?
Beta, in this specific dog case, I'm not going to refer to the other animals, but in this dog case, what really needs is for money to be put into this program. For instance, you take a place like Faridabad. Now, the ABC program in Faridabad is going extremely well, but the NGO that is doing it has been told to get their own center. Now, just suppose that NGO wanted to save money. They would have taken a really rubbish center. As it is, they've had to rent a building. So, ABC centers don't exist in 80% across the country. Those ABC centers will have to be built and built according to the law. They cannot be built in garbage dumps. They cannot be built so that it's just one dirty room. They have to be built like proper small little hospitals. And that applies to Delhi to begin with. This is our national capital. We should have the best ABC centers here. But we don't. Chennai, for instance, has possibly the worst program in India. And 90% of the dogs come out of the centers either with distemper, in which case they will bite everybody because they're sick, or they are relocated. And we have been shouting at the Chennai Corporation to change for the last, I think, 10 years. So, the same thing with Delhi. Your ABC centers are less than 5th grade. They're leaking in the roofs, they have no drainage, they're just one dirty little room, there is no cleaning. Those will have to be improved, because otherwise, if you don't have the proper centers, how do you make the program?
Well, it seems to be a big day for animal lovers, specifically dog lovers, amidst the entire news headlines of stray dog menace. The Supreme Court has now come out with a modified order, the same order that was given by a two-judge bench on the 11th of August. A three-judge bench, which was, brought into the scheme of things later, has now modified that order, and seems like that's a big relief for the animal lovers and the dog lovers to understand what this new, fresh order entails and where do we go from here next. Joining me here is Ambika Shukla, trustee, Animal for People. People for Animal, beg your pardon. Ambika ji, how do you read the latest order that's come out? And more importantly, where do we go on from here?
We are deeply grateful for the reversal, complete reversal of the earlier order of removing dogs to shelters, which was an impractical and unscientific approach to the situation. So there will be no relocation. All the dogs who've been illegally impounded over the last 10 days since that order was released will now be returned to their original locations. We need to understand the danger of relocation. What happens because of relocation? When you take friendly, familiar dogs from their area where they live and remove them elsewhere, what happens is you create a vacuum. Other dogs, other animals move in. These are unfamiliar to the area. They do not know the residents. They do not have a source of food. They feel frightened, afraid, and those are the conditions where they may react. So you are actually aggravating the situation through relocation. This is why the ABC rules prohibit relocation, and we are glad that the Supreme Court has reiterated and emphasized that relocation is illegal.
Ma'am, many are also saying that isn't this a situation where we've again come back to square one, where implementation is now going to become the key aspect of how we control the stray dog menace?
There is no menace, so I object to the word. It's a prejudicial word, and I think the media should stop using it. It's the misuse and abuse of a word, and it prejudices the argument even before it's begun. So I think you need some editorial control on the words you use, because you color people's opinion without any evidence. So let us go back to the situation. And they're not stray dogs either. They are community dogs. So let us get our terminology straight so that we deal with the problem in a mature, balanced, and humane manner. Community dogs are not encroachers upon earth. If we have them in our cities, they are a blessing in many, many forms. They protect our neighborhoods. They keep our neighborhoods crime-free. They protect our homes, our children. They guide the blind. They rescue the lost. They fight on our fronts with our forces. They sniff out bombs for the police. They are called man's best friend for a reason, and we need to recognize that. But coming to the current issue, what we need to look at is implementation. The ABC program is in itself an excellent program. It has been endorsed by WHO. Now, WHO is not an animal welfare body. It is not a veterinarian body even. It is a health organization, the apex health organization of the world. And if this apex health organization of the world has stated that the ABC program is the only scientific and proven way to curb dog populations, curb biting, and eliminate rabies, why should we be ignoring the experts and looking elsewhere? So we have the program. Where we have failed and where the problem has occurred is with the implementation. Why? The municipalities who are tasked with the implementation of this program are not expert bodies on animals. For them, they have so many other issues. They have roads, they have cleanliness, they have construction, they have so many other issues on their plate. They don't know animals. They have no fondness for animals. They regard this as a nuisance. They have no motivation. They have no willingness to engage. Class 4 staff that is deployed to these duties regards it as a punishment posting. So when you have somebody who is not trained, who is not motivated, who is not willing to execute this job, what kind of job will they do? A poor job, a failed job, and that is what we have seen. Instead, were we to hand over this implementation or at least cooperate in the implementation of the ABC program with the very people who are the most keen to see it succeed, which is the animal welfare world. We have the motivation, we have the domain expertise, and most important, we have the willingness to make it succeed. We are ready to participate with the municipality, work in close cooperation with the municipality to make a success of this program and to render India rabies free. That is our mission, and that is what we want to achieve. And we are willing to put in the time and effort to do so.